We're live now on YouTube and Facebook.
Wild.
Wild.
Wild. Wild. We're talking all business today, baby.
Oh,
Let me go. Austin Lewis is live now. What the frick?
Yep, let me get that alert out. I'll share it on the business page real quick.
Looks like he stinks. Yeah, you do look like you stink.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I probably do. What about it?
I don't know, man. It's
I
okay,
shit
though.
my pants twice a day.
Why am I not surprised?
Oh man, you know it's hard just being always down for business. Oh, this episode's gonna be fun. Oh, this episode's gonna be fun.
Oh, 100%. Echo.
Yeah, bro. No kidding. You fucking goblin. You goon.
Shut
you
the
Dazzler.
fuck up.
You're so stupid.
You're so ugly,
Yeah, what about it? At least I'm not
Ooh.
stupid.
but you're ugly and stupid. What's your point?
I'm not stupid. You can only be one.
No, you
unless
can
you're a
definitely
rare
be both.
crossbreed.
You can definitely be
Yeah,
both.
bro. Why you look like you were bred in the back of an Alabama fucking shit den?
Because I'm in the South right now. What you want?
He's dressed like he thinks he's fucking Jason Bateman from the Ozarks.
Hey, listen, that'd be
Yeah.
kind of fun. He made some money.
He did make a little bit of money on that, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Just a wee bit.
Why you bending, bro? 5-year-olds are live streaming a roast session. True.
You got $1 highest bidder. Get your mama session going. Let's go. Let's go.
Oh my god. Dying. Travis, why don't you hit us with the intro?
Welcome back, everyone, and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We are the Sporting Lounge. Welcome again. Okay, Austin. But yeah, we're here with Austin, myself, and Shane. We are live on the Facebook once again, and also on Twitch. Derpamation right there. Shane is showing.
Derpination.
As always, thank you for joining us.
Derpination.
Thank you for everyone who joined us last night, as well as with our first time being live on the Facebook and YouTube, and also thank you to everyone that's always live on Shane's Twitch as well. Last night we hit you with Week 7 recaps and some injury updates. Tonight we're gonna get you with the Week 8 start and sits and predictions for the week. But before we jump into that, big hot thing of the last week or so has been the University of Michigan's football team being under investigation for the sign stealing scandal. Yeah. So what do you guys think about that with what's come out so far? Do you think they're going to be hit with anything? Who's at fault?
So under the rules, like if they are found guilty or whatever, I've seen some of that evidence, but a lot of it's kind of circumstantial to me. But regardless, if they are found guilty and NCAA determines they have enough to punish, Jim Harbaugh is getting punished regardless because of the bylaws. The head coach is at fault. Like in any
aware or not.
Yeah, like in any organization though, like the top dog is going to be found to be at fault and will get punished for that. But this is also kind of like uncharted territory. You don't really know what the punishment will be. It could be almost anything at this point.
Yeah, and like, what do you think the punishment would look like? You know, like, would it be like full season suspension, like termination, ban from the NCAA? Like, What
Win,
what
vacate, banned from the postseason this year or something. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think any punishment will come down this season, but next season I think is very realistic that the punishment would happen, and it could look like postseason bans, similar to what we've seen with college basketball, where they got banned from March Madness, right? So I
Yep.
think it could be something similar to that. Plus, maybe they take away some recruits, potential recruit slots.
I think at minimum, homeboy who's at question, he's gonna be fired for sure.
What's crazy to me is he was a volunteer for freaking years before he got actually paid full time on the staff.
I would say
well,
everything
like
that I've
I guess
read-
here's my thing too is like, you know, you look at the evidence and it's like I think you hit right on the head with like it's circumstantial. Like one of the big leads was against Ohio State and they're audibling out. So they're making hand signals and he responds like the defensive coordinator is responding with pointing up saying through the air because he sees that they're audibling. Like it's one of those things where it's like, okay, yeah, if you can read the signs, sure, that happens. But also, like, if it's 3rd and 1, which I believe the circumstance was 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 2, and you see them lining up in I formation, then they start setting up wide. Like, wouldn't you audible out to more coverage savvy like scheme? Like,
Right.
obviously.
Right.
So, like, what is the evidence here? Like, it's weird because on both sides, it's damning on both sides. It's like, no, he's obviously innocent because of da 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 da. And then on the other side, it's like he's obviously guilty because of da 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 da. And like there's evidence that's like being ignored on both sides that just like is I think you're right, it's not going to get settled this season. I don't think there's a
his
chance.
name's Connor
Right.
Stallions. I've made sure to get his name correct. But he's been suspended currently with pay though
Right.
during
But,
this
but
investigation.
but something to also remember is though too is that sign stealing inherently is not illegal in the NCAA. It's
It's
only
just about the manner that they went about it.
yeah, it's how you do it that's becomes illegal, right? So it's like
Everyone that's come to their aid though, like that, like on social media, like Deion Sanders and whatnot, is saying like Deion pretty much said he's like they can fly you, they can helicopter fly you, mail you the playbook, but you still gotta execute.
yeah, but I mean at the same time like in the kind of it doesn't matter if you're trying to get a competitive advantage, you should be punished. I think, right? Like Michigan's a good team; they're a great team with a very good offense and a great defense. They don't need to be trying to be doing anything like that or trying to make it look like that, right? So it'd be disappointing if it actually comes out to be true and the evidence becomes more damning, which it might. There's still a lot that we don't know, a lot that hasn't been released, so it could get to that point, which would be very kind of catastrophic to Jim Harbaugh in his career and then that Michigan team. Like there'd be a lot of what's the word I'm trying to look for? Like doubters kind of thing on Michigan. People would be kind of looking down on them at that point.
Like the Patriots.
Yeah, back in 2006, 2005, something like that.
From that whole decade, because you know you got
When that came out.
Deflategate and shit. Like,
Yeah, Deflategate wasn't a thing though. That was his butcher.
yeah, but like for a normal team, that wouldn't have been a big deal. But because the Patriots had that reputation,
Mhm.
it became a big deal. And like I
Right.
think you're right. This could linger around Michigan's reputation for a long time.
Yep.
I
It could it could hurt it very bad.
There was a couple like rumors going around that a lot like from insider stuff that there's a Michigan alum who's like on the board who does not like Jim Harbaugh very much, and he's the leak apparently.
But I mean, at one point, Jim Harbaugh was rumored to be about to get fired, right, or at least on the hot seat. I think that was like 3 or 4 years ago at this point, which is right around when this apparently started. So like, some of the evidence is I wouldn't say convincing, but it's like, dang, you know. I don't know.
Yeah,
110%.
I'm just
Facebook chat had me rolling a little bit. Heath Nunley out there, he says, at Shane Mahoney, you stink like old ass and cheap cigars. So looked down and I seen that. I was like, oh shit. I guess I do. You know, while we're at it, you know what? Fuck it. Here we go.
Oh god.
I'd have laughed. You're just straight boxers underneath that.
It's popping a cigar. Not even lit or nothing, just chilling.
There you go. Yeah, keep talking about Michigan and whatever.
I don't know.
Come
Like
to me on the day of my mother's wedding. My mother's wedding. I hate my stepdad.
I just want to see the other evidence that they have, because apparently other teams have known about this for at least a year now, and they've kind of been tracking him. So it's like it's curious the evidence that they have with Connor Stanley buying all these tickets to different games that Michigan eventually plays during that year. So it has you thinking. It has me thinking, like, what is going on? Is there more to this? But they also have to prove that he was intentionally recording those games, and that's going to be a lot harder.
That's where he's gonna have to find emails or text or something that makes gives it a purpose. And
Yeah.
but I don't know, a lot of the coaches and players and coordinators and whatnot, analysts that have come out and been outspoken about this incident, have beaten around the bush in a roundabout way. Pretty much said every team in college does this.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's true. You know, like sign stealing.
I guess
ain't necessarily-
2023, everyone in that stadium, there's 80,000 plus people at every stadium that have cell phones in their hand and are recording every second of what's going on.
Yep.
Like, not saying it's not a rule, but it's a rule that needs to be done away with.
110%.
And regardless of what they do to Michigan, I think that the rule will be changed within the next 24 months.
Yeah. But I think if there is any punishment, Jim Harbaugh could get hit a little heavier, just because of his suspension this year for the first 3 or 4 games for the recruiting violation.
Yeah, because he bought a kid a hamburger. Yeah.
But still, violations. So multiple violations.
A violation is a violation. You're right, but it wasn't even a fucking violation. It was him buying a kid a fucking burger, dude.
But what I'm saying is the NCAA is not.
Grimace wasn't happy.
But
Grimace wasn't having it.
But all I'm saying is NCAA is not going to see that way. They're going to see 2 back-to-back suspensions, and they're going to levy the second one harder. That's all I'm saying.
I agree. No, I agree 100%. It's just ridiculous. You know, I said it when it all happened. I was like, that was fucking ridiculous. I don't know if I've ever seen a coach be so targeted by anything.
All because he was
ever.
outspoken by saying that the players should be making at least a percentage of all the money the NCAA is making off their names. So, and they didn't like that. That's why he's been a target.
Is he wrong?
He's not wrong.
Is he wrong?
No,
these kids.
No, they're
these kids
the
don't
ones that
have
are putting their bodies on the line. Not them.
Yeah, these games are televised nationally. They're, and only 1% of players in college make it to the NFL. So a lot of these guys put aside your Caleb Williams and your fucking, Kool-Aids and shit, guys that are going to be those big first round picks, and even put away your guys like your Brock Purdy's that were Mr. Irrelevant. When you're looking at guys that just don't get drafted, they don't go to the NFL, they just don't make it to the next level. They just spent 4 or 5 years grinding so hard to be on a college football team and not have it pay off at all. They have no dividends from it. They're nobodies, whatever. And having, maybe a help with paying your for food and shit, basic needs, you should be rewarded that as a player at least. And
Yeah.
I don't think that's unrealistic. Even if it's 10% of the namesake, they make $1 billion. That's, that's a fuck ton of money that you could just distribute to every school to have these players be able to survive comfortably because they've earned it. They've busted their ass for 10 years. A lot of these kids have, and now they get to college. They don't have a full ride scholarship. They're barely on the team. Maybe give them a couple $100, make it so they can eat some food.
All the athletes that aren't the All-Americans that aren't getting looked at by the NIL, that gives them a chance
to just survive and just a lot of times, college guys, a big reason they never end up starting is because they're undersized. Like just on a basic nutritional level, like these kids are 18. They're not fully grown adults yet. Like
Yeah.
they still got 2 or 3 years before they're fully grown. And it's especially important that you're getting a high nutritional value with how much you're working out as a young college athlete. And a lot of these guys, you hear them talk about, I just had to eat ramen for a while, like that's not acceptable, especially when the NCAA is making $1 billion off of your namesake alone. I don't know if that's the
Yeah.
exact number, but it's damn close if it's not. And
No, but
it's just not. It's not okay.
It's close because like each school makes a ton, and then the NCAA of course makes a ton on top of that. That's all.
I just think it's kind of funny because the NCAA is going to be obsolete probably within 5 years. Like the forming of all these super conferences and the NIL pretty much having a stranglehold on like letting players represent themselves and make money.
There will still be
There's-
an NCAA because there needs to be.
The conferences could just say fuck it. They don't have to.
That's true.
There will still be a governing
Conferences can
body.
represent themselves.
There needs to be a governing body regardless, right? But how it look could change, right? How the NCAA currently looks and the landscape of things could change, but I think there needs to be a governing body to kind of regulate these different conferences.
They're going to have to give in eventually and start paying the players.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
That's what I'm saying. Like
otherwise the NIL is just going to buy them out.
right. And that's where I agree with you. Like things will change, but I don't think to the extent that you're saying. I think that the NCAA will still be around. It needs to be around, but how it looks in 5 to 10 years will look different than it does now.
That's fair.
All right, Shane, why don't you lead into these sit starts? What's our first game?
Week 8, game 1, Thursday night. The Buccaneers visit Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills.
Oh, what if the Bills fall to 4-4, guys? Like realistically,
It's possible.
I want to deviate just slightly, like because before the season we all thought the Bills were a playoff team, but if they lose this game,
Did we all?
Yeah, you just thought Josh Allen was shit, right? But you still called them a playoff team.
I said a bubble team.
Yeah, playoff team.
Don't get twisted.
Playoff team.
Bubble.
Playoff.
Pull
it up. Where's the proof? I'm just.
I'll pull it up, dude. I got the VOD. Here, I'll find it right now.
No, but I'm pretty sure we all called the Bills at least a playoff team because you said they'd get the 7th seed, if I remember correctly.
I think I might have locked in 7th seed.
But you did call Josh Allen, but you really mainly like the focus of that, if I also remember correctly, you called him a fringe top 12 quarterback. I believe is kind of what you said. But like if they lose this game, what does that mean for them fantasy wise, but also regular season wise? Because that hurts them. Playoff prediction.
It does,
especially if they lose this game and go down to 4-4. Because that against a tough AFC conference, they're gonna have to win a majority of their last games, if not all of them, just to make the 7th seed. So,
Yeah.
I think if they lose against the Bucs, I think it'll be a lot more devastating than people are going to anticipate. Kind of what you're insinuating, like falling to 4-4 in this tough AFC conference, like it will push them down to like a tough spot, especially if Miami manages to, beat the Patriots, even though they struggle against the Patriots. It seems like. With that being said, if Miami gets a 2-game lead, I don't know how the Bills like really get back into it without being a low wild card, because the AFC North is so dominant as well. I don't know if I could see one of these 3 teams falling out, but like even the Bengals are in the discussion. Like the Bengals are starting to heat up. They do this every year where they start slow and they heat up. Okay, so you're looking at Bengals possibly, you're looking at Steelers possibly, you're looking at Browns possibly, and you're looking at Ravens possibly, and you're realistically looking at 2 guaranteed. That's just the lowdown.
Mhm.
And it wouldn't be out of the realm to say that all 3 wildcard spots are filled by AFC North teams. That's
It's
the
looking,
position.
It's looking like it.
That's the position this conference is in.
Mhm.
So this is a must-win game for the Bills, and they need to stay one game behind at least with the Dolphins to stay alive at all. That's where you got to be. And if you fall far behind off that, you're going to be out of playoff conversation.
Mhm.
It's just how it's going to be with how strong the AFC North is, and especially if a sleeper team like, I don't know, the Texans, like I was calling during the offseason, like if a sleeper team like the Texans keep playing tough, like they might go ahead and snatch up a wild card spot too. Like what
Yeah.
if like these are realistic scenarios that Bills are finding themselves in. What do you think, Travis?
I think it's scary. This is a must-win game for the Bills, just because of how deep the AFC is currently. They drop to 4-4 like this, and the Dolphins find themselves against the Patriots. Not an easy game, obviously, but I do think the Dolphins would be favored by most people in that game. But no, they need to win, especially since the Jets, especially since the Patriots, they had tiebreakers over them. And the Colts are playing well. Houston's playing well. The entire AFC North is playing well. The Bills do not want to fall out of the division race. That's for sure. Especially the way their defense has looked since they've lost Tre'Davious White and Matt Milano.
Yeah.
And Edmonds.
Funny enough, as it stands right now, from the AFC North, every team but the Bengals would make it if it ended today, and then the Bills would be the 7th seed, with the Texans close behind them at 8.
And
so losing this game could realistically drop them out.
For
Especially
reference,
since I think Houston beats Carolina this week.
Mm-hmm.
For reference, at this point, the AFC North standings are the Ravens are in first place because they haven't had their bye, and they won X game right now, so they're 5-2. Steelers 4-2, Browns 4-2, and Bengals 3-3. Like that, it doesn't get tighter than this for a whole division, man.
It's the only division with every team above 500 or above right now.
Yep. And
so I would not be surprised.
With that being said, and I think realistically, like it's a conversation to be had. Do I start Josh Allen this week? I'm so hesitant because it's like, I think you got to because the value you put into him, but like the Bucs defense is good. Like the Bucs defense is really good.
It is good, but you almost have no choice but to start him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same thing with Stephon Diggs, right? Like you got to start him.
Yep. He gets that target share. Josh Allen's a must start just because.
But okay, so
then
who's your guys' kind of like dart throw for the Bills? Like I need 15, 20 points because I have no one else. Who from the Bills are you playing?
Diggs.
No, without those two, because those are like your auto locks. But like a dart throw that you just praying on.
You got to go with Gabe Davis. Like realistically, you have to if you're going for that boom. Like because what you're saying is that boom or bust potential.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Gabe Davis is that. Like Gabe Davis is the type of guy where he goes out and randomly has a game with 7 receptions, 120 yards, and a touchdown or two. It happens like every year, once or twice, and who would it be better against than the Bucs, who have a really good defense, but
would you
one of their weak spots are specifically cornerback too.
Would you consider James Cook over Davis?
Not if I'm going for the boom.
Okay.
If I'm going for like a safe flex start, I would rather have Cook. If I'm going for the boom, I'm going for Gabe Davis.
Okay. Travis, are you along like the same lines?
Yeah, I would say Gabe Davis just across the board, just because the Bills failed to establish the run against good run defenses. The Bucs have a great run defense. They stifled the Lions. James Cook is probably going to have a rough week, in my opinion. So they're going to have to pass, and someone else besides Stephon Diggs is going to have to make some plays, and it's got to be Gabe Davis.
Okay. So let's flip to the Buccaneers side of things. You're starting probably Mike Evans, right? Because he's one of the most consistent wide receivers in the league, fantasy and yardage wise, right? Because he almost gets 1,000 yards every season. Who's your kind of dart throw.
I
Boomer
think Baker
bust player.
Mayfield this week.
I think Baker's a top 5 QB for fantasy this week.
I don't know about top 5, but I think he's got QB1 in 12-man leagues still. Like, I think you start him in one QB formats this
Okay.
week.
The reason I'm saying top 5 is because it seems like the Bills, like, I feel like they need to prove that they could stop a quarterback that could just manage the game.
Mhm.
Like, it's realistic that Baker just goes ahead and manages his way to 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns. He definitely could against this Bills defense. You know, the Bills have been struggling against that all season. You know, they just lost to the Patriots in a similar fashion with Mac Jones doing that exact thing.
Mhm.
You know, Mac Jones just beautifully managed the game and just took control of the game. You know, he passed for 272 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's a good game. Like, that's really fucking good. That's like 41 points in fantasy. You know, and in a lot of weeks that constitutes you as a top 5 QB.
Mhm.
Do I think Baker Mayfield has that potential? Yes, because that's what Baker Mayfield does. Is his pros and cons are that because he's a manager. He can manage his game to some savvy wins, and he did that with the Browns when they made that playoff push. He's been doing it this whole season with the Bucs. You know, usually I'm not a big fan of starting Baker, but this week, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if Baker was 40 plus points and ended up being a top 5 quarterback in fantasy because of those reasons I just stated.
Fair enough. I like it.
I think a guy in the Bucks could have I like Baker this week. I'm not as high on him as Shane is, but I do think that he's a must start this week. But I think another guy who's been struggling, who had high expectations this season, is Rachaad White, and I think this is a perfect spot for him to have a bounce back week. So definitely put him at least in a flex spot.
Yeah, I definitely would too. No discredit to Rachaad White. You know, I think he will go ahead and get like 20, 30 touches. I wouldn't be surprised. You know, but I wouldn't be surprised if like 5 to 10 of them are through the air.
Especially
Like-
with Chris Godwin down. Like, someone else
Yep.
is going to have to pick up the slack.
Yeah, like Baker and Rachaad White are locks for this week. Obviously with Mike Evans as well. You know, this Bills defense isn't the Bills defense of this past decade. This is a different unit. You know, especially, you know, Edmonds being gone, like that's a big deal, especially when you're playing against a team like the Bucs that have a Mike Evans that need to have that second man on him. You know, they're feeling it. You know, like I think Mike Evans is going to eat his heart out. I think Rachaad White's going to eat his heart out. And I think Baker Mayfield is going to be the main beneficiary of them eating their hearts out.
That's fair. I can get behind that.
All right.
All right. Texans, Panthers. Started on the Panthers side.
Well, who do you think's going to win that game, real quick, boys?
Bucks.
I'm gonna go Bucks. I'm gonna go by 7, 30-23.
I'm thinking a similar scoreline. I was thinking 28-21.
I'm going to have
Close.
to go. I think the Bills right the ship this week, go 31-21. I'm going to stick with the Bills.
All right.
Go for it.
I'm hoping.
All right. Texans, Panthers. I'm gonna start on the Panther side of the ball. Like, what are your thoughts with that quarterback? How do you think it's gonna bounce back? Or start
Not
to?
against this team. Not against the Texans. You know, the Texans had a horrible first couple weeks,
Yeah.
and they're still kind of recovering from that statistically. So like their stats aren't speaking to the level of what they're actually playing at. This Texans team is looking like the real deal, and I'm excited to see it all come into fruition so quickly. This was what I was hoping for during the offseason when we were talking about the Texans and why I was so high on them was because those gaping holes on certain positions got filled. And you have so much extremely high talent on that team. They're taking advantage of it now. And CJ Stroud is, I think, #1 candidate for Rookie of the Year. And I think that there
he's
might be a
gotta be.
discussion I think there's a discussion if he stays healthy by the end of the season that he might get a couple MVP votes too. Like, I don't know if he'll get the nod. That's not what I'm saying, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him get a couple, you know,
No,
a couple
He's going to have to go over
nods.
4,500 yards to dethrone Mahomes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, 16-16, 9-1 TD interception ratio, like holy fuck, dude. That's really good for a rookie.
This will be a decent test against Carolina. I mean,
They're a tough team.
They got Carolina has the 27th overall ranked offense, but the 10th ranked overall defense. So it's a solid defense for Stroud to be tested against.
Or so,
Uh,
who are you guys confidently starting on the Panthers, and who are you starting as like a boom bust, as a boom play
A boom play. All right, so
for the Panthers specifically?
the Panthers are obviously you're starting Thielen until he slows down, until he gives you a reason not to.
Mhm.
He's locked in, and that's like I said, till he gives you a reason not to. But 2 QB formats, I think you can swing on Bryce Young. He's your this is your chance for him to. I think he has an opportunity to be good, decent this week and show off a little bit. Texans have the 15th ranked defense, so middle of the pack, not bad, but good, going on the tip of great. With the 19th ranked offense to go with it is what Houston has as well. So this game could be a little bit closer. I expect Houston to win this game, but
Mhm.
I think Bryce Young, this is an opportunity for him to battle the rookies, battle the top 2 picks.
What about you, Shane?
Yeah.
He's gonna be wanting to put it all out there.
Honestly, man, I'm staying away from everybody on the Panthers that their name ain't Adam. Uh,
That's fair.
that's
kind of where
that's
I'm
the
at.
up and down of it, man. Like, I don't want to start Bryce Young. This Texans defense is good, and like what the performances they've been putting on these last few weeks, like they've been looking like a really well put together team. I mean, last week they beat the Saints 20-13. Just took care of business. The week before that, they barely lose to the Falcons 21-19. I mean, they went up 3 fucking touchdowns. Like, so fucking what? Like, they still played a close game. Like they held them to 3 scores and that was it. The week before that, they annihilated the Steelers 30-6. Don't want to talk about it, but before that, they take out Trevor Lawrence 37-17. They have a messy game against the Colts and a mediocre game against the Ravens, but they lost to them 25-9. And here's the thing, what did the Ravens just do last week to the Lions?
Mhm.
Yeah. This wrecked
So-
us.
I mean, this Texans defense is really good. Like, you watch them play, they're a cohesive unit. And, I don't think you score more than 3 touchdowns on this Texans defense moving forward.
Yeah.
So, like,
Well,
That's it.
that's more points than I had written down for my prediction for this game.
But
I think it's going to be a close enough game where Bryce Young has you can start him in 2 QB leagues. I expect Houston to win 27-17 though.
yeah,
Is what my prediction was.
and I think people overlook the Texans way too much because of their history, right? Because of the previous 3 years, especially where they've been bad, and they've been bad a lot longer than that. But like those 3 years,
they've been bad.
right? And I think people overlook them, especially this year, a little too much, right? Because I love their team. Shannon and I were very much on key, like especially before the season started, about how we viewed them and where we thought they would finish. Because even though they are 3-3 and second in their standings, like very realistically, they could grab that 6-7 seed in the playoffs and make it.
Yep.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah. And we were just talking about it, the Texans, this is why the Bills should be afraid of the Texans, especially if they lose this week, because the Texans are getting hot
Mhm.
and they're not a team to fuck with. Like, I don't want to play the Texans. Fuck that. My team already played the Texans. Look how that turned out.
All right.
With that being said, on the Texans side of the ball,
Yep.
I think CJ Stroud's a start. I think Tank Dell's coming back. I think he
should be coming back.
cleared. I think he's cleared at this point. Double check that real quick. Collins, just I like the Texans a lot. I think they're going to win 30-7.
All right. So, is there anyone? Are you confidently starting like most of the people on the Texans, like Tank Dell, Nico Collins,
Yes.
David Pierce, CJ Stroud?
Yes.
Yeah. Or is there? Okay. Who's your like dart throw? Do you have a dart throw, or is it really no dart throw, just confidence?
Just confidence. Like,
Okay.
I think it's going to be an ass whooping. I think it's going to be ugly. I wouldn't be surprised if, CJ Stroud goes ahead and just has a fucking day where he goes and completes like 80% of his passes,
Okay.
and they throw the ball 30 plus times, like 35 times, and he gets like 30 completions or some shit. This is the type of day that I think it could be. The Panthers are a good defense, but the thing is, their offense can't keep them off the field.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be like the first quarter, Texans might put up a touchdown. Second quarter comes around, they put up 3 points. Third quarter comes around, and then Texas scored a touchdown. We're halfway through the third, and then the onslaught begins, and that's when it's all going to fall apart. This Panthers team, like we've seen it time and time again this season, they just fall apart, and in games that they can stay competitive, they just don't, and that's why they're 0-6. Like they lose 0-27 to the fucking Jets with Aaron Rodgers playing one snap.
Yeah.
They lose a close one to the Giants. They kind of got their ass whipped by the Lions, and the scoreboard didn't really reflect it correctly, 26-17. But, like you watch that game, and it's just like Lions were in control of it the whole time. Falcons, they lost 24-10. Saints, they lost 20-17. And the Saints, it's kind of like, who have they beat? And you look, they beat the Panthers. So fucking what? They lost to the Seahawks in a closer bout. Lost to the Vikings in a somewhat close bout. Like, I don't know, man. I really don't.
All right, on to the Rams and Cowboys. Let's start with the Rams side of the house. Who are you guys confidently starting, and who's your boom bust type play?
All right, confidently starting Puka and Cooper Cup and Stafford this week.
What about Tutu?
Tutu's my boom bust.
Okay.
He's still been a very relevant part of the offense, but since Cup's came back, Puka's the one that's maintained the consistent volume. Tutu's
Told you.
Touchdown dependent.
Told you.
You did. But when he gets the touchdown, he's been solid for about 15 points because he makes do with his target share. And yeah, I think you can go with Stafford. He's been playing pretty well so far this season, and Cup and Puka are locks for the rest of their matchup. Or if you lock, they're locked.
Are you
not playing?
Are you willing to put any of the running backs from the Rams into the lineup?
I could put.
Or are you kind of saying
They both played well last week.
Yeah.
I mean, like honestly, man, like on my dynasty, I went ahead and picked up Royce Williams, and
Not bad.
And
he did
scored me only
solid.
7 points last week, but like that was without a touchdown. He picks up a TD. That's a solid flex,
Right.
Like, and I think against this Cowboys defense, you're gonna want a running back that's gonna be able to like punch in a goal line situation. Like I think that's the type of situation that will happen. So yeah, if you need a flex, go ahead, do it. My dart throw for this week is Dak Prescott. I think he's gonna have a stellar game. I think he's going to pass 300 plus yards.
I mean, we're talking
2-3
about for the Rams,
touchdowns.
but I'll take that.
Oh, I thought you were saying both teams. My bad.
No, I was just starting with the Rams first.
Rams, it's just like, I don't think there's really a dart throw. Like, I think it's just straight up like I think it's kind of obvious where everything's going to play out this week. Like, Puka and Cup are like obviously locked. Stafford, like, you start him if you want to. Like, I wouldn't personally start Stafford this week, because like I don't like the matchup against the Cowboys. I'm scared that he's going to throw a couple picks. I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out on the other side with 2+ interceptions and a couple sacks. That's kind of where I'm at with this Cowboys defense. They're kind of scary, So like Puka and Cooper Cup, they're going to get their completions. They're going to get their eats. But at the end of the day, I don't see the Rams putting up more than 14 points on this Cowboys defense, and I think that it's going to be a grindy couple drives that they score on.
I feel that. So, okay, since you started talking about Dak Prescott, why don't you lead us into the Cowboys then? Side of the house.
So Dak Prescott, like, here's the thing. I think Dak Prescott, with exactly what I just said, he's going to get a couple extra opportunities. He's going to get better field position than, he normally would. The thing is with Stafford is like consistently you see the flaw in his game throughout his whole career is if you put pressure on Stafford and you make him get rolled out of the pocket, and it's not the fourth quarter in a game-winning drive, he tends to throw interceptions. You live by the sword, you die by it. That's gunslinger. But Dak, I think, is going to be efficient. He's going to manage his way to a 300-yard
Bless you.
game, a
Thank
couple touchdowns, maybe a pick. But I really wouldn't be surprised if he has a 30-plus point game.
All right. Who are you locking in from the Cowboys side?
Honestly, even though it sounds crazy, I'm feeling Michael Gallup this week, man.
Not
Like-
CeeDee Lamb.
Ravens.
I
Rams defense.
I-
Secondary's been quiet.
CD Lamb's obvious. CD Lamb's obvious. Like he's obviously 100% locked, but
Yeah.
like Gallup, I think is going to have a good week this week, man.
Okay.
The Rams just got done playing the Steelers, and something that they had a hard time was dealing with Deontay Johnson and George Pickens.
Mhm.
Deontay was getting a lot of free catches because they were doubling George Pickens. And I think the same situation is going to happen here where Michael Gallup's going to go ahead and just get 10 catches out of nowhere and maybe 80 yards. And that's an 18-point game without a touchdown, So at the end of the day, I really wouldn't be surprised if Michael Gallup pulled that off.
Okay.
I like.
I could see Michael Gallup doing it because we've
Sorry.
seen those flash games from him before.
I like that pick,
Yeah.
especially since Brandon Cooks hasn't really seized control of that second spot. So it's up for grabs, and Gallup's it's there for the taking.
Yeah.
And that being said, obviously CD Lamb locked. You're going to play Dak, 2 QB leagues, especially.
Do you start him QB1? I do. I'm asking if you would.
This week, no. I actually think that the Rams escaped 23-20 with this one. This is one of my 3 upsets this week. Probably not the biggest surprise though.
Okay.
I'm feeling kind of like 30-17 this game, by the way,
For Cowboys,
for Cowboys.
I don't
think
think
Cowboys win it by like 10, 30-20 type of thing.
About that range. That's where I'm at. Yeah. I just I don't know, man. Like the Cowboys defense is better than the Steelers in some ways. It's not as good as in others, but they're on that equal playing field.
Yeah.
And I asked myself this: do I see the Rams putting up 17 or more points on a defense that's equal caliber as the Steelers?
No,
No.
I don't see it.
They were playing their hearts out last week.
Mhm.
Joey Porter ended up our rookie cornerback ended up locking down Puka and saved the game for us, essentially. What happens when you got a similar situation over in Dallas? It's gonna get ugly.
fat.
All right, so on to the division rival, Vikings versus the Packers. Let's start with the Packers side of the house. How are we feeling?
Oh man,
Mhm.
I'm staying away, man. Maybe Aaron Jones, but that's it.
Because you got Jordan Love, who some people thought would be the third in a row Hall of Fame caliber type quarterback, and he's not looking like it so far.
And
You got Christian Watson.
Ben?
You got Christian Watson that might miss this next week. I can't remember what his injury designation was. But for me, like the lone bright spot is, or at least the biggest, is Jaden Reed. I thought he's been very good. Him and Romeo Dobbs look like they're going to be a better combination than people thought Romeo and Christian would be. Right? I think it's going to be more about Jaden and Romeo going forward, and Christian's just going to be that safe wide receiver 3 range type player. But I agree with Shane. Like I'm not really touching anyone, but maybe Aaron Jones.
And that's if he plays. He missed
Right.
practice on Wednesday.
Right, exactly. Assuming he plays, like that's the only one I would think about potentially starting because the Vikings defense is sneaky good. Right?
Yeah, they get a lot of turnovers.
Exactly. And Jordan, how many of those are going to be from Jordan Love? That could hurt you a lot on your
Yeah.
fantasy day. So it's like, are you willing to take that risk? I'm not.
Like this week, I'd honestly rather start Mac Jones over Jordan Love.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel safer with Jones than Love, especially against this Vikings defense.
Yeah, the Vikings have played a hell of a lot better over the better part of the last 3 weeks than they did to start the season. And Green Bay has done the opposite. They've slowly gotten worse as the season's gone on, and I don't like it. I think Aaron Jones, if he plays the only one, then Minnesota, you're gonna lock in Jordan Addison right now. The way that man played.
What about Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, Kirk Cousins. Yeah, that man deserves his flowers. Can we get a clap in the chat for Kirk Cousins? That man deserves some flowers. He deserves his flowers. But man, Alex Madison looked a little bit better. I think this is a week that you can play Alex Madison. Yeah, there we go, Kirk. This is for you.
There it is. Fucking 2 minutes later. Jesus fucking
Right,
Christ.
man.
Listen, it took forever to load. It's not my fault. Okay, hold on.
For sure.
Is Addison gonna be in every week start for you, even when JJ comes back?
Flex. So I mean, yeah, I wouldn't have him as your wide receiver 1 or 2 if JJ comes back, but I'd have him like in your flex territory, wide receiver
Okay.
3, just because of Hawk's involvement in the offense still.
Respectable. I accept it.
I'm cool with that.
But that being said, Vikings 28, Green Bay 21, just because it's a rivalry game. So
Who's your dart throw from the Vikings?
dart throw from the Vikings, KJ Osborne.
I kind of thought you were gonna say that.
I think he's really the only option as a dart throw. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yep.
everybody else is kind of a lock. It's like if you want to get risky, I guess. Like
I say Kirk's a top.
You want to be
10
a little
must start.
spicy.
Addison and
Yeah.
Hawk are going to combine for 80% of the target share, and Madison's the only one touching the rock in the backfield for the most part. Akers gets a couple handoffs here and there. But,
What about you, Shane? Who you're like?
yeah, I'm
kind of same thing.
yeah, exactly the same. I think KJ Osborne is the only dart throw because it's like he's the only option that isn't a lot.
Right.
Madison, I think you start him for sure this week. You know, Kirk Cousins 100% QB1 lock. You know, Addison, like you got to lock him in, especially after their performance last week. You know, Hawk, you got to lock him in. He's like getting fucking 5-6 receptions a game. You got to have him. You know, like I think the Vikings take care of business. Go ahead and go up to 4-4, 24-14.
Oh yeah, I can see that. I like that scoreline. I'm gonna go with the same thing. I'm gonna go with
Cool.
the same. All right,
Yeah.
Saints, Colts. Like so on the Saints side of the ball. Who are your guys' auto locks and like your one little dart throw?
well, Chris Olave is auto locked up
Mm-hmm.
in jail. But
Alright.
Kamara right now, if Olave's not playing, then Kamara is the only one on that team that I would like 100% start.
If Olave does play, I start Michael Thomas too, though, on a flex.
Just yeah,
Yeah, that's fair.
they help open up the field for each other. But
Yeah.
if Olave plays, obviously then you play Olave. But I'm not touching Derek Carr this week. The Colts have been playing well, but this also feels like a trap. This is what they do the past 5 seasons. They start playing well. You think they're about to make a turn and then fall flat on
Boom.
their face against a very
Yep.
winnable game after they just played their hearts out against a historic defense. Like,
Yeah, and the Saints have proven they can't score a lot of points when they need to. So it's like this could be a very in the trenches, grind it out type of game, and I'm not sure the Colts can win that. I think they can because I love Gardner on the opposite side of the ball, but
I mean,
I-
like they do still have Zach Moss,
yeah, he's a dog.
and they got Jonathan Taylor back too. You know, like
they got 2 dogs in the backfield.
yeah. You know, it's crazy to me. I held on to Zach Moss for 3 fucking years in our dynasty, man. When he was with the Bills, and then he goes with the Colts, and I'm like, fuck. Now he's behind JT. There ain't no chance he's gonna see, and then JT's fucking out for the first 4 weeks. I'm like, oh, now I'm a fucking idiot. I hate it here. I don't even like football. I don't watch these games. I don't even fucking care anymore.
Shane's about to go to fantasy tennis.
Yeah,
Start
bro,
some-
fuck that.
He's about to start some fantasy tennis league.
Yeah, that's why I'm wearing the suit. I'd like to propose to you guys. Would you like to join my fantasy tennis league? Only $1,000 buy-in.
Fantasy cricket.
I
league.
get the first 3 picks though. And it's only 3-player rosters. So
Wait, what?
I don't make the rules.
You just did, but like, okay. So I think we kind of all agree with the Saints side of the ball. What about the Colts side of the ball? Are you starting? I know we're pretty much going to be starting Jonathan Taylor, but are we going to be starting Zach Moss?
I don't feel comfortable starting him because like Zach Moss is going to get used in situations where like the Colts are up by 14 points.
Right.
Do I think the Colts can pull ahead by 14 points?
Yeah, I do at least.
The Saints defense is really good, man.
It's not bad.
Like they're pretty solid. Like they do a good job limiting yardage. You know, it's not like the Saints are ever getting whooped on. You know, like last week.
Yeah,
they lost to the Jags.
They have the
31-24,
6th ranked
but-
defense in the league right now. So
Yeah.
it's pretty good.
You know, like the thing is for me, you know, like they hold the Titans, so nobody, but whatever, to 15. Panthers, nobody, 17. They hold the Packers to 18. They hold the Bucks, 26. They hold the Pats to what was it again, Austin?
I don't want to talk about it.
I wasn't sure.
3?
0.
0?
0. Shut up. Goose egg. Hate to
That's
see
fine.
it.
That's fine. Y'all
hold the
basically got
Texans.
shut out the first week. I don't want to hear
Hey, but we didn't. Hey, but we didn't.
it.
That's
Right.
3 points makes it so it ain't a shutout, buddy. That's the difference. We scored.
All right, you got me.
Even if, hey, I'm just saying, you know, prom scenario, you didn't even get a date. I got to first base. That's all I'm saying. I got to hold her hand. You didn't even get a yes. So fuck you.
I'll accept it.
You know, they hold the Texans, a good Texans team, to 20, and then, you know, they let it a little bit out of the wraps with Jaguars, but you know, you got Trevor Lawrence playing against you. You might have a little bit of a tougher time, but you know, with the Colts, you know, it's one of those situations where the line isn't as good as, you know, like a Jaguars team or, you know, even a Texans team for that matter, you know, and I don't think that they can maneuver efficiently around a defense that would be playing them tough. You know, we see that circa, you know, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We see that circa the Titans and Panthers. You know, they won those games, but they won them very marginally. And because of that, you know, I really don't feel comfortable starting Zach Moss. I feel comfortable starting Josh Downs, though.
Okay.
Michael Pittman's obviously a lot. Gardner Minshew, I think, is a start, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has a 2 or 3 touchdown performance with a pick or 2. That's kind of what I'm seeing from him.
Travis?
Yeah, I was going to say Michael Pittman's definitely a start. He's been playing really well. Josh Dobbs' emergence last weekend, that was nice. Can it carry over? We'll find out. We'll see where Marshawn Lattimore is. But yeah, I'd start Jonathan Taylor. I'm not playing Zach Moss now. They're slowly starting to ramp up Jonathan Taylor's touches. It was kind of big last week. But I like Dobbs. He's a good hold. And Minshew, I think you're starting him every week in 2 QB weeks for the rest of the season, especially if AR's not coming back for the rest of the season.
Yep.
But who do you guys have taking this game?
I got the Colts 24-17.
Yeah, me too.
That's where about I got them. I think it's gonna be a close game, but I think it's gonna be a Colts win.
Yeah.
I do too, just because of the uncertainty with Olave. I'm gonna go Colts 28, Saints 20.
Okay.
Although, like, just from recent history, like this is the trap game. This is where the Colts are gonna let everyone down. This is what they do every single season. This feels like it's that game.
Probably.
And I feel it in my gut, but I just got to. I'm just gonna go with the Colts.
Hey, but you know, also on the other side of it, in Colts history, if they don't fall into the trap, they make the playoffs here.
Yeah.
That's true. This is a big
So
game
let's
for
go
them.
and point out. Let's point out the silver lining. You know, it seems like every time the Colts are damn fucking 500 halfway through the season, you know, that Andrew Luck era, it seemed like every start of the season they were like 0-3, and then out of nowhere they win 12 straight. So, you know, I'm taking Colts. Yeah. On to the next game.
Yeah, not this game.
Patriots go ahead and visit Miami, go to Vice City.
Well, that's not the
And
next
play
game.
some
It's
GTA.
fine. That's not the next game. It's fine.
Oh,
I mean, we're
I-
talking
I-
about a
about that.
Patriots team.
I
We're
like
talking
our
about a
odds.
Patriots team that's
just beat the
I-
Bills.
we're talking about a Patriots team that's hot right now and a Dolphins team that's getting a little bit cold.
I like your
And-
odds because the
And,
first
and
meeting.
Tyreek missed practice today.
I mean, the first meeting was 24-17 in favor of the Dolphins, but I don't think this is going to be a blowout by any means. I think the Dolphins still win it, but I think it's going to be blown by about 7 again. So on the Dolphin side of things, though, like who you guys starting and who's your dart throw?
I mean, is there a dart throw on the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jalen Waddle, maybe? Is that the dart throw?
I mean he hasn't been really performing, like
Yeah, but like
fantasy
also,
wise.
like, yeah, but like like the position you get him, it's like you recognize he's gonna end up cooking at some point.
Yeah.
It's Jalen Waddle.
Yeah,
He's a
especially
flex
since
start every week.
if Tyreek Hill kind of lives out to what he said and not play past age 30.
That's for dynasty, but like
Yeah,
this week in particular, though, like there's not really a name other than unless like you want to go with the tight end, you want to go with Smith or whatever his name is.
personally, I'm only starting Waddle if I actually have to, absolutely have to.
He's been
He's not-
inconsistent this year.
Otherwise, he's not going in my lineup.
I don't think the Patriots defense is good enough to maintain Tyreek or Jalen Waddle. So like
No, but
assuming Tyreek plays.
okay. So then,
Um,
if they had Judon and Gonzalez, would your opinion change?
yes.
Okay.
Significantly, yeah.
Okay.
Because like Gonzalez, the big part there, and Judon is a big deal as well. You know,
Mhm.
I think Tua is going to be able to sit back there all day and just pick them apart. Maybe even Raheem Mostert might not be a starter this week because the Dolphins might just pick apart the Patriots through the air. We've seen them do it 2 or 3 times this season where they hardly hand the ball off. They're just like dink, dink. Oh, Tyreek's open on a slant. That's a 90-yard touchdown. Fuck it, we ball. Because of that, I think the Patriots try to keep it competitive. I think it ends up being 31-21.
I'm gonna go 28-24 Patriots favor, just right off the rip. Got it
Cool.
for my team. Even though I'm not
100%.
confident it's going to be a win, but like the Dolphins,
Do
I
you-
just think just have too much firepower, even without Tyreek playing. If he doesn't play, the
I
Patriots
think
can't keep up with that realistically.
I agree because across the board, Miami's number 1 in total offense, number 1 in passing offense, and number 1 in rushing offense. They are only 25th in total defense, though. So that being said, especially the way Mac Jones looked last week in 2 QB leagues, are you starting Mac Jones this week?
Yes.
Probably,
Yes.
Okay.
I would
yeah.
probably start him. I'd be okay. I would feel good. I wouldn't feel great.
Do
I
you
feel
start
like right in the
Ramondre
middle.
Stevenson this week?
No. I start Elliott instead.
I'm not starting Elliott. Fuck Elliott.
I'm starting Elliott instead, bro. I'm feeling it. He's been slowly getting more of the share throughout
Nah.
the season. He
Fuck
has
Elliott.
been.
Fuck Elliott.
Okay. Why?
Bro.
Why? He's your guy.
I know he's my
You-
guy, but Ramondre, I think, is better. I think he's more suited to that offense. He's the one that's been in that offense. I think they're going to lean on him, and then Elliott's going to be the change of pace.
The way to win this week against the Dolphins is running it down their fucking throat. And Ezekiel Elliott will do that. That's what Ezekiel Elliott is great at right now at this point of his career. And that's why I think that I'd be comfortable starting him this week.
I'm not starting either one of those 2 running backs. I think those carries are going to get split pretty evenly. So I don't think any one of them is going to get enough yardage to actually be worth starting. It's just if you need to start one of those 2, it's going to come down to who do you think is going to get the touchdown.
Yeah.
I think personally, I think that's
I
where their
think
fantasy. I think that's where their fantasy day is going to get made. So at that point, if you have both of them, you just decide who you think is going to get the touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, it's a crapshoot.
Hunter Henry, though, he's kind of a lock at tight end at this point in the season, huh?
I would start him.
Yeah. The way the tight end scenes look this season. I mean, it's always been like, Kelsey, then like two to four guys that are there, and then a huge drop off. But now it's
Yeah.
just like there's three guys like Laporta, Hawkinson are staying around Kelsey, but it's like their own tier, and then there's a drop off now. Well, and Andrews, and then there's a drop off. Like, but Kittle and Goddard have slowly turned it on a little bit.
What about Kendrick Bourne? He's someone I'm
I
starting.
think you start him because I think you start him. I think he's wide receiver too. Because if the Patriots, it's a divisional game. The Patriots are getting a little hot, and it seems like the Patriots always piss off the Dolphins at least once a season.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just seems to happen. So like with the Dolphins getting a little cold, I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots pull it off, but it's going to be competitive. And
Yeah.
I think you start Bourne because of that. Like he's going to get probably 10 catches because he's putting up wide receiver 1 numbers every week.
And to kind of to your point,
10
Shane,
targets, I should say.
and to kind of to your point, like the Patriots and Dolphins games every year have always been interesting. Whether it's the Dolphins pissing off the Patriots or the Patriots pissing off the Dolphins, it always happens. It's a trap game.
Yeah.
It's a true trap game.
Yeah. It seems like every season one team is ass. It's never like the Dolphins and Patriots are always good at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like one of them are always ass, and then one of them gets a win that they shouldn't over the other, and then it randomly spurs some like good luck for a couple weeks, and then it pitters out.
Right. Like
And, that's kind of where it's
exactly.
yeah.
Shit's wild.
So like personally, I'm like maybe the Patriots pulled off, but I gotta bet on the Dolphins by like at least 10 points.
I don't think it's realistic, but I still got to bet with my team. I got to go with my team. I think they're going to win by 3 points. I think it's going to come down close to where it was in the first game, right? It came down to just a couple inches. I think that's what it's going to be the second time around, but I think it's going to go in favor of the Patriots this time.
I'm going to be the sorry sap that has a stipulation on the game. I'm going to maintain the same score for both sides of the stipulation, 27-20. Tyreek plays Miami 27-20. Tyreek doesn't play Patriots 27-20.
Fair enough. So our next game, Jets flying over Wait, I shouldn't say that. Battle at MetLife.
Battle at MetLife. Oh, you mean Zach Wilson versus? Oh, don't get me wrong, my boy Tyrod. I like him. He's playing well, but just for like the comedic effect, like you almost wish Daniel Dimes was starting for like Zach Wilson versus Danny Dimes. I would love to watch the all-time snooze fest. Like holy
It'd be
shit!
great. I mean, Zach's been low-key putting on a performance the last couple of weeks, though.
Yeah, he's been playing better.
He is significantly better this year than he has been last year. Just based off of the eye test alone. Like his decision making seems to be a lot better. His accuracy seems to be kind of about the same, if not marginally better. But he seems to be progressing through his reads better.
Yeah, and it doesn't like he had a mediocre game against the Broncos, but like he played a tough Eagles defense and didn't throw a pick, didn't throw a touchdown either, and he didn't get 200 yards. But like, maybe against a team like the Giants, this could be the type of game where he could do something. I mean, why not? 250 yards, touchdown pass or two. I could see it.
I was on paper, the Giants defense right now is ranked 28th in total yardage and everything given up, but like they're better. They're a better defense than they are in real life than they are on paper.
Yeah. They're probably top 16.
Yeah. Jets defense right now is 13th overall, 30th in offense. Giants 24th in offense, but they look better with Tyrod, and if Saquon's fully healthy, I mean the Jets defense is going to test them, but really it's really going to come down to who makes a mistake: Zach Wilson or Tyrod.
Yeah,
that's going to be the game here.
Are you starting Tyrod?
2 QB leagues, yeah, the way that he's been playing, I would, especially with the injuries that have been happening this year. And like,
what about single?
honestly, like there's like the elite quarterbacks, like even Mahomes, like hasn't been like Mahomes has been playing better, but there's like the elite quarterbacks are not playing at the same level that we've gotten used to over the last like 8 years or so.
Mhm.
No one's playing at that like crazy level right now this year, and so yeah, Tyrod can definitely. There's a lot of quarterbacks that he's just like I don't know if he's QB like in a 12-man QB1 league, but in a 2 QB league, yeah, you're starting him.
Yeah.
Okay, so the
He's a
QB2
top
super
24
flex
quarterback,
leagues.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
he's
got
a
you.
top 24.
and I say that
quarterback,
more so
110%.
not because I don't trust him, but Jets secondary is pretty good, and no one on the wide receiver core that Tyrod's throwing to wants to step up, so it's not his fault. If he had somebody besides Darren Waller to throw to, I would maybe think about QB1.
That's true.
I get
I don't know,
that.
man. I feel like this is such a shit show. Like it's gonna be like a 14-10 game.
I could see it.
It's gonna be so boring, and it's not gonna be like a good defensive performance. It's just gonna be like, bro, why is this on? Type game.
Do you start anyone in this game besides Waller, Saquon, and Brees Hall? Do you start anyone?
Garrett Wilson, maybe.
Well,
Think
and
about
Tyrod,
it.
obviously. And then Garrett Wilson, okay.
I don't know if
That's
I even.
about
Start,
it. I would start like if you especially with bye weeks in play now. Tyler Conklin's been kind of steady for tight end there for the Jets. He's someone that if like your tight end's on bye, you need a dart throw. Consider him. He's normally available in most leagues, but he's been like top 15 all season for tight end. So
Yeah.
not bad. Who wins this slugfest here?
I'm gonna go
Jets.
Jets 17-14.
I'm going 14-10 Jets.
Okay, we all had the same idea scoring was. I mean, I had the highest score, but I'm going Giants 20-17. I trust Tyrod.
110%.
If the Giants defense that played the last couple weeks shows up, then I'm confident.
That's fair. I could see that. I don't know. I still take Jets because their defense is just so good too. Like if you're gonna make that argument for the Giants, like
Yeah.
you gotta acknowledge it for the Jets. Like their Jets defense is just marginally better. And the thing is, like, I think Zach Wilson, like, he's been playing good enough where it's like he can manage a game, and that's all you need to do to beat this Giants defense. It feels like is manage the game efficiently. So not throwing picks, maybe throw a touchdown, maybe even two. Let's get risque. You know, who let the single moms in the room? Am I right?
Right. Hi, babe.
With that being
I'm just kidding.
with that being said, Jacksonville visits Acrisure Stadium. Pittsburgh Steelers hosting Jacksonville. What are we thinking here? Steelers offense is abysmal.
I'm gonna go first before I let you talk about your team, just because I'll be quicker. I do think the Steelers have been playing better. They're 4-2. We had the discussion last night about whether or not they're the most fraudulent 4-2 team, and I'd say that record-wise, just like pure record-wise, sure, but on paper, like the team that they have, are they very capable of having that 4 wins? Yes.
Yes.
But, and I do think I have confidence in them turning it around. Eventually, they've been slowly we've been seeing signs of it slowly working that way, but it's still got to come up a couple notches over the last couple weeks. But I just do not think that against this Jacksonville team that started the play at their best is like the week that they're going to turn it around. Do I think that they keep the game close? Yes, I have Jacksonville winning this game 21-14, but it's a good game. Like Pittsburgh's defense keeps them in it. I think Jacksonville's defense is very solid. It's top 10, and I think they're going to force Kenny Pickett to the one mistake that causes the one score difference. I think it's
going to be like 30-17.
Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I could see that if it gets out of hand early. Then the D coordinator's just throwing out ideas.
The Steelers play bad against Jacksonville, like routinely. like it seems like the Steelers never can find the Jags number ever, like in this last decade. And just with how the offense has been performing, I'm really not comfortable with betting on the Steelers at all. Do I start Kenny Pickett at all this week?
No, I
In
wouldn't.
QB2 leagues, yeah.
QB2 leagues, yeah.
You know, but like QB1, definitely not. Najee Harris, you know, I think, yeah, he's a start this week. I think he's going to see quite a few touches. Jalen Warren, you know, if that's the route you'd rather go. George Pickens, obviously a lock. Deontay Johnson, I would possibly start this week.
Flex, wide receiver 3 range for me.
Yeah, same. George Pickens, you know, he's a stud though.
Yeah, I think the only thing holding him back, honestly, I think what's holding him and Pickett back is Matt Canada. If they had more
Yeah, it's
confidence
abysmal.
in what they were supposed to be doing when they're on the field, not as far as like their abilities and knowledge of the game, but as far as what their bosses want them to do, and supposing to look good and do well while doing it, like if they had more trust in the competence of who's fucking supposed to be making those decisions for them, which can determine their paycheck, you know, I think they'd be doing a lot better. I think they'd be top 12 fantasy assets at their position.
110%. You know, the only hope the Steelers have is like if they can figure out a way to shut down Trevor Lawrence, but like I don't know if that can happen, man. You know, the Steelers defense has been miracle workers this season. It's just the Jags are a tough team, man.
If
So
they
I'm
can
really
slow
banking on
Travis
that 37
Etienne
team.
down, that's been the big difference maker. Is Etienne's been getting consistent and going the last couple weeks. That's what, and the defense coming together at the same time. But like they can slow Etienne down and force Lawrence to feed somebody besides Christian Kirk and get Calvin Ridley involved. See what happens.
Yeah, like ETN is a critical part of their offense for sure. I would start ETN this week. I would start Lawrence. I would start Kirk. I'd flex Ridley. That's kind of what I'm looking on Jacksonville starters. I think Ridley's a boomer bust, so that's my dart throw.
I can get behind that.
You know, my dart throw for the Steelers would be Deontay Johnson.
Stole mine, jerk.
I was kind of leaning the same way though, honestly, with Deontay Johnson and Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. So, any last remarks about this premature funeral that I'm celebrating?
Hey, internally, I mean, I rooted for my team last week. I pulled the Austin card, even though internally I felt like it was gut check week for the Lions and the Ravens. So I understand. I said on stream that we were gonna win confidently, but I knew in my heart we were about to get wrecked. it was time for us to get me out.
And wrecked you did. All
It
right.
was time.
So Falcons Titans. Let's start on the Titans side of the ball. How y'all feeling?
You start Henry.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I think you flex him and Tyjae Spears because they're going to start getting split work. They're trying to trade Henry. They're just announced not injury related at all. They're like full in tanking on the season now because like Ryan Tannehill hasn't been playing horribly, and they're starting Will Levis this week. Will Levis is.
I mean, Tannehill's 2-6, bro.
I know. I don't think it's all like him though.
Well, 2-6 through the year, 6 interceptions, like
Yeah.
and only 2 TDs. Like he has as many interceptions as the team has touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
As the team has touchdowns, like that's bad.
That's fair. I'm flex like I'm not touching D Hop. I'm not touching Treylon Burks. I'm not touching Will Levis. I would flex Tyja or N Henry, and that's it. If you own anyone, and hope that if you're the Henry owner, you hope that you have Tyja as the handcuff. You have that handcuff, and then you're also hoping that Derrick Henry gets traded at this point.
That's fair.
AKA me.
What about on the
100%.
Falcons side of the ball?
Desmond Ritter's QB2 material. Bijan, if he plays this week, he was sick last week.
Or is he gonna be sick
whatever.
again? Yeah.
Yeah, is he sick again? I don't know.
No.
Bijan, he's a lock. He's still yet to get his first touchdown on the ground, so excited to see that happen. This is just gonna be a smash mouth matchup. I'm thinking 21-17.
Yep.
You start Drake London, you flex Algier in this matchup, you flex Spears too. But Falcons go ahead and take care of business. 21-17.
I like it. No complaints.
All right. No complaints there. Then I'm going to go ahead and slip and slide into the next game, which is the Eagles sliding over into Washington. Commanders. What if
Sam Howell,
Washington
baby.
pulled it off? What if Sam Howell did some hood rat shit? Sam Howell, you could argue, has been having a better season than Jalen Hurts.
Damn.
Overall, maybe not if you factor in like the running game and then win factor, but that's not all of Jalen Hurts. But like strictly through the air, yeah, I'll accept that argument, even as a Jalen Hurts owner.
We're talking a 200-yard difference from scrimmage, and Jalen Hurts has an extra interception, and also he's passing to AJ Brown and Devontae Smith comparatively to, Howell has Scary Terry, but behind him he has Curtis Samuel.
Mm-hmm.
Scary Terry, I don't even put on the same tier as AJ Brown or Devontae Smith.
And their first matchup, though, too, like it went to overtime. Howell led them both in yardage with 290 yards.
I think it's a shootout, man. I
Again?
really do. I think you start Howell. I think he's going to be a top 12 QB this week. Jalen Hurts obviously is a lock. DeAndre, you got to start him with how he's been playing.
Mm-hmm.
Playing like a true stud. Brown, lock. Assuming he plays correct, is he cleared now?
I wouldn't be surprised if Washington
he's active.
pulls this game out and wins this matchup.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either in like a 31-28 type.
Yeah,
score.
Another kind of shootout. Philly, I think, got a little lucky there in the end, overtime, but I mean, they played a good game. I was just rooting against them, so I'm gonna say they got lucky.
I think the way Washington's defense has been playing and the way Sam Howell has been playing, they have what it takes to pull off the upset, especially since, like, don't get me wrong, like AJ Brown's having a great year, but as a whole on offense, the Eagles aren't what they were last year right now. And with a good defense like Washington has, a good defensive line to match up against that offensive line that the Eagles have, the ability for an upset to happen is very real, especially in this division rivalry. So
I could see it. I could see, like Shane said, 31-28 type of game.
But you got to remember also, I have the Eagles winning 24-17 in a close one because of the defenses.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the addition of Kevin Byard is going to be felt immediately.
Okay, so on the Washington side of the ball, are you starting in the running backs? Because Robinson Jr. has been their basically leader running back.
Yeah, I'd start Robinson.
Yeah, I think this is a good week for him to get the touchdown. I don't think he's going to be efficient with his work, but I think if he gets 30 to 40 total yards and gets in the end zone, then he's playable for sure.
Right.
This is a good week for him to get in the end zone.
Okay, so
I think Terry's going to I think the wide receivers are going to struggle this week for Washington, though.
So you're not really starting any of them?
I mean, you're starting Terry for sure. You have to.
Yeah.
And then 2 QB.
I think you start Howell.
And I still think you start Howell. I think he's going to be efficient enough. He's a good enough QB that he'll make it work. All he has to do is not commit a turnover, touch 200 yards, and get 1 touchdown, and he's very playable.
What about Curtis Samuel?
A flex.
Okay, so you put him in your lineup. Travis,
100%.
Travis, would you put him in your lineup?
I think it's gonna be a bloodbath. That's why.
I don't trust anyone else from Washington this week. Curtis Samuel has been playing better and has seemed like he's like, all right, if Jahan Dotson's not going to step up, I will.
Mm-hmm.
That's what he's been looking like. But I don't know. As much as it could be, like, it's a division game, so like, anything can happen, and they got a good defense. But Philly's defense is just too good. I just don't know if the second and third tier dude are gonna step up. I don't know.
I feel
I
that.
just think the talent difference from like the next step down across from each other is the talent gap's too big.
All right, lock in right now. What's the score and the outcome
24-17
in favor?
Eagles for me.
Shane?
31-28 Commanders.
I'm
I'm
31-28
not even
too
mad at that.
for Commanders. I think it's going to be a good game.
I'm not even mad at that either. Like I can see that.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a close game, and it really could come down to, I think, whoever has the ball inside the 2 minutes, I think it's going to win the game. I think it's going to be Commanders.
If
That end
Jalen
up pulling
Hurts
it
keeps
off.
committing turnovers the way he has, then Washington
Yep,
winning's
that's
very,
exactly
very,
it.
very real.
Yeah.
All right, so
And this is my all business game of the week. All right.
Browns Seahawks.
We're all business. Browns Seahawks.
Let's start with
You
Shane.
want to talk about a dogfight?
Let's start with Shane's favorite team, the Cleveland Browns.
Who've
Oh,
been
yeah.
playing
You know me.
well.
I love elves.
You do love the Brown. You love the Browns.
You know, I think Kareem Hunt has a fucking field day, man.
Yeah.
I do. Amari Cooper is a lock. Elijah Moore, I wouldn't start this week. Kareem Hunt, though, I'm all in. He's proven it time and time again with the Browns beforehand. He just wasn't on the team for the first few weeks. He just had a couple extra weeks off. He was taking a vacation. They gave him time to go on a cruise with the family. Said, okay, now we need Nick Chubb's down. We need you to come back. It's time to come back for your services. And now it's time for him to show why he was an efficient running back for the last 6 years. It's like he didn't really fall off. They just didn't want to pay an RB2 that much.
Right.
And that was it.
Okay, so
So Kareem Hunt
so
is my start this week. Amari Cooper's a lot.
let me then ask you this: if Jerome Ford was playing, would you still be as confident?
With how Kareem Hunt's played last game, yes.
Okay.
Like Jerome Ford is good. He's a stud. Thing is, like, Kareem's just really good in this Cleveland offense. Just like he should have just never been gone.
Yeah.
And like it kind of makes me happy. It's kind of a happy ending. You know what I mean, Deshaun? Fucking it's kind of happy to see that Kareem's back in an organization that like he could be efficient in. He never, after that assault incident happened, he's lucky to still have a career, but with it being so long since it happened, it's kind of down the back now. It shouldn't be held over him. He's been a good teammate, good guy for his organization for several years now. And it's one of those things where I feel comfortable with Kareem Hunt being the RB1 for the rest of the season, especially if Nick Chubb isn't able to come back.
I like Kareem Hunt for the rest of the season. I don't think he's gonna be like their RB1 the rest of the season. Jerome Ford's only gonna miss a week or two, but he has been playing well enough that when Jerome Ford comes back, I would still comfortably and confidently play him as a flex. But while Jerome Ford's not on the field, I trust him as a mid-level RB2, Kareem Hunt, for the rest of the season.
That's about where I'm at.
And even with Ford on the field, I like with his production as a flex play because like Jerome Ford might get the bulk of the touches, might like even by a decently significant margin, but he's not.
Kareem Hunt sneakily gets like 5 catches a game though every week.
I was gonna say
that's the thing.
But like even if Jerome Ford's getting the majority of the touches, he's not gonna get the same kind of workload Nick Chubb was. There's gonna be 5 to 10 extra touches a game that he's not gonna get that Nick Chubb would, and those are most likely gonna go to Hunt.
Yeah.
So I like it. Like Hunt's regardless of where you see him, like Hunt's flexible minimum the rest of the season, in my opinion.
Yep.
Okay, so he's a safe start rest of the season for you guys then.
At least at flex. At least at flex.
That's the start still.
Yep.
So, but yeah.
It just depends on Jerome Ford, his health and availability.
Okay. What about on the Seahawks side of the ball?
I like the JSN coming
Geno-
out show.
Geno's a lock, I think. Metcalf is what's his
Questionable.
status currently?
Questionable.
I know he's questionable. Let's see what the report is calling back. Tyler Lockett, like him being down, that really helps JSN to, come out again. And I think JSN's going to have a stellar week too. The big question for me is who's going to cover him effectively. DK Metcalf is active at this point,
Mhm.
according to NFL.com. So DK Metcalf is lock. Kenneth Walker, I'm obviously going to start.
Thank you, Travis.
Zach Charbonnet's going to get his flowers at some point during the season.
I think he's
gonna be
out
against
this
Browns
week.
team.
Or was he just out
Yeah.
last week?
I don't know, but I wouldn't start him this week either way. I was saying at some point this season he will get his flowers.
This could be an ugly game. This is a very like on paper matchup, like stylistically and like numerically, like statistically, a very close matchup. Like Cleveland is 25th in total offense, Seattle 22nd. Total defense, Cleveland's first, Seattle fourth. So like in that regard, like this could be a slugfest, a low scoring slugfest. But the disparity between the type of offense, Cleveland is 31st in passing, but 7th in rushing. So a big disparity there. Whereas Seattle's 20th in passing and 22nd in rushing.
To be fair, that number's a bit inflated too. You had Nick Chubb having like all-time trajectory for the first few weeks.
Yeah.
And then like
he was getting 2018 to 2020 Derrick Henry touches. Like,
yeah. So like the numbers have been inflated. They're probably realistically more towards 12. That's why I'm gonna go ahead and take Seahawks 31-20.
Okay. Shane, are you starting JSN? Would you put him in your lineup?
Yeah, wide receiver 2.
Okay. Travis?
I would play DK as a wide receiver 2, Lockett and JSN as a flex. And then Kenneth Walker, he's an RB1 all season right now.
Thank you again, Travis.
Tyler Lockett missed practice today, by the way.
Although I would temper your expectations, obviously, against this Cleveland defense.
Of course,
wouldn't expect
this defense is good.
And
this defense is good.
You're hoping like Walker, like even as good as he's been, like just like from the eye test and what I've seen so far, like Walker's going to need a touchdown this week.
Yeah.
And same with any of the wide receivers, to be honest. But whatever receiver doesn't have Denzel Ward following him around is going to benefit.
I agree.
But
all right,
if Geno plays, I pick Seattle to take this game 28-17 actually, just because this defense is better than most of the teams that Cleveland's played thus far.
I mean, look at what happened to the Browns when they played against a shitty Steelers offense, but an elite Steelers defense. The Seahawks have a better offense, and they have a very small difference on their talent on defense.
I think your guys' front seven's better, and their secondary is slightly better.
Yeah, that's exactly how I'd put it too. But when you got TJ Watt in your front seven, you tend to have a better front seven than most teams.
Yeah,
true.
I won't argue that.
All right,
Ravens, Cardinals.
Yeah, not much to talk about. Can we just speed past this one? Honestly, Cardinals are going to get their ass whooped. I don't start anybody from the Cardinals this week.
Even Hollywood?
Not even Hollywood.
I'd flex.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Then.
Just because someone's got to get the targets.
Let me ask you this then, Shane, because you kind of want to speed past. But do you think Joshua Dobbs is the problem? Do you think quarterback is their problem?
No. It's rather alarming that, Harris hasn't been as efficient and we're not seeing what we want from him. We're not seeing him on the field enough, and everything is just like You know, when you're paying a first round pick, you wanna have an elite left tackle. It's kind of scary. I wouldn't like it a lot. Thing is with Josh Dobbs, I think he's a valuable QB2 in fantasy. It's just this team isn't good enough. Like, look at their wide receiver core. Like, who the fuck is he passing the ball to? The defense can't stop anybody from scoring. They're making them one dimensional. I hate to tell you this, but when they get to rush 5 and drop zone coverage on you every play because they know that you have to get points fast, you tend to not break the 200-yard mark very often unless you're a great quarterback. And Joshua Dobbs, he used to be a Steelers QB. I liked him a lot. He's a very good, very smart, very talented guy. He's a game manager. That's what he is. And that's not going to be enough to get you past this Ravens team. And I don't start anybody on this Cardinals offense at all. Like, I don't think it's going to be a pretty game at all. Like, I think their wide receivers are going to at most have 3 receptions a pop at most.
The only one I think about starting from the Cardinal side of the house is Dobbs. That's the only one I would
Hollywood?
consider.
Yeah.
No, the only I think he's going to get some work, but I don't think he's going to get enough to be in my lineup.
I mean, I wouldn't
Dobbs-
put him as wide receiver 1 or 2, but I'd like flexing maybe.
But that's still lineup.
Maybe.
That's still your starting lineup,
Yeah.
right? Flex is still in your lineup. I don't think
Maybe,
I don't-
but I don't even know if I would.
I don't think anyone's going to get enough work to be in that. I think the only one that's going to be worthy of a consideration is Dobbs.
Yeah.
But that's also purely because of his rushing upside, right? Because he has shown that. I think that could happen against this Ravens defense in this game. But that's the only person I'm considering from the
It
Cardinals
just
side.
depends on if he's able to get outside. If Dobbs is able to get outside of the tackles before the pocket completely collapses, then his rushing will be effective.
Right.
But I mean, that being said, I think Baltimore wins this game 35-14. But Baltimore, you're starting Lamar, you're starting Mark Andrews,
Yep.
you're starting Zay Flowers, and then honestly, you're flexing Gus Edwards if you have him right now.
So is he kind of your dart throw?
Yeah, Gus Edwards is
Yeah.
my dart throw.
100% me
So-
too.
He played pretty well against the Lions.
I'm going to go ahead and say 30-14
Yeah.
Ravens.
About that range for me too. I'm more like 34-14 kind of thing, but yeah.
I just I could see the Cardinals rising above. I could see it happening.
Mhm.
But they need to play really well, and I don't know if they have the talent to do so. I just don't know. I don't this is one of those games where it's like, I hate to say this because, there's a reason the games are played, but the talent discrepancy is so wide there. It's bad.
It's very bad.
It's going to be a pretty, I don't think it's going to be really a game. And that's kind of why I wanted to skirt past it. Kudos to the Ravens for having a great defense. Lamar Jackson is an MVP candidate again. Great player. I'm excited. I love watching Lamar play, even though I'm a Steelers fan. I love watching him play when he's not playing against Black and Gold Brigade. But yeah, who do you have, Austin?
Ravens, like 34-14 type of game.
Is it the-
I think it's going to be at least
35-14.
I think it's going to be at least like a 20-point blowout type of game. But real quick, before we go on to the next game, though, like, are you considering anyone else on the Chiefs besides Dobbs, like James Conner or anyone else?
on the Cardinals, you mean?
Yeah,
Cardinals?
yeah, that's what I said. On the Cardinals.
You said Chiefs.
No, I said
You did
but like
say
before.
Chiefs.
Oh, I meant like before we go on to the Chiefs game.
Yeah, well, you did say Chiefs, so
Well,
could you
okay.
just say sorry real quick?
Yeah,
and
man.
No.
acknowledge your mistake.
No, I'm not saying sorry now. Like,
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah, serious.
I hate you.
I hate you too, so it's fine.
But
But like,
no, I'm not. Zach Ertz is off the team. I just don't think. No, the defense is too good.
Shane, you
There's
same?
no-
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable with anybody on the Cardinals starting roster to start fantasy wise, man.
The only
The only chance the Cardinals have to win this game is like they somehow make it a grittier match and it's a cat fight into the end, and they somehow squeak it out. That's the only chance they have. They're not going to shoot out this Ravens team, man.
You know,
They're not going to
only-
be putting up more than 20 points on them.
The only dart throw I would say might be Michael Wilson, the wide receiver, and I'm only going to say that if you want to try and play the guessing game of what player is going to be the benefit of the one garbage time drive late in the fourth quarter when the Ravens have their backups in, go for it.
That's fair.
Points are points.
Yeah, that's the game you're playing this week with Arizona.
All right, Chiefs, Broncos. Let's start with the Broncos. How you guys feeling?
I want to say right off rip, I think we all are going to expect the Chiefs to win. And the way the Chiefs have been playing and the overall record of the Broncos, you want to say a blowout's going to happen. But even if it's been mildly, Denver's been playing a little bit better.
Yeah, ever since that ass whooping.
Yeah. But, I mean, Chiefs, in my opinion, are still going 38-10. I think a blowout's about to happen again. Honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, even though kudos to the Broncos kept it close last time. What was it, 1916? But
19-8.
19-8, something like that, yeah. But
They just met 2 weeks ago. That's crazy.
yeah, I don't see that happening this time.
No.
Kelsey's healthy.
I think the Chiefs feel like they got something to prove because the Broncos are bad and they barely beat them. They beat them with a field goal with the time expiring and kind of fluffed the score a little bit. I think the Chiefs are coming in here with a little bit of a vendetta, even though they won the last game.
A little
The Broncos just don't have the culture to win. When you have an offensive lineman about to start crying in the locker room saying, "I'm just tired of fucking losing, man," it's over. It's over. As soon as that's said, it's over. You do not come back. You are not making a playoff push. You are done. If your players don't believe they can win a fucking game, you're not going to win a fucking game. It's pretty straightforward. Teams win. You look at a team like the Cardinals. The reason that we give the Cardinals the time of day and we're tipping our caps to them is because they have heart and you see that they want to win and they're trying. You know that the talent ain't there, but they're trying their best and you respect it. With the Broncos, it's the opposite. They have the talent and they don't want to fucking use it and they don't coach it correctly and it's abysmal and no one in that locker room feels like they can win. If you don't feel like you can win, you're not going to. Chiefs, go ahead and obliterate the Broncos 38-0. Fuck them.
Damn. I was going more
damn. Fuck them. That was that mic drop.
I think it's going to be more 42-14. I think it's still going to be a blow, but I think the Broncos are going to be able to put some garbage time points.
No, I don't think they'll even score on the Chiefs' second stringers, man.
They're going to score some points. They're going to score some garbage time points, but points nonetheless.
Now on the Chiefs side,
I'm
obviously,
calling
you're
it.
starting Mahomes and Kelsey, and then you're starting Pacheco, who this season has been back in RB1.
Yeah, and
in
I mean,
fantasy.
especially if Taylor Swift's there, you're starting Kelsey, even more so.
So what wide receiver do you have the most confidence on this Chiefs team moving forward? Me, Rashee Rice.
Rice is good. I'm kind of high on Sky Moore, though.
I do like Moore too. I just think the person who's probably the favorite out of the wide receiver core to finish with the most targets by the season's end, I think it's gonna be Rice.
I'm kind of waiting and seeing. I'm gonna wait and see. I'm not really touching them. Mahomes, Kelsey. Those are about the only ones I'm starting confidently. If I'm gonna do dart throw, I need someone to start in my lineup. It's gonna be Rashee Rice. That's about where I'm at.
Yeah, I would flex Sky Moore personally. I think he has flex potential. But with that being said, yeah,
I see the appeal.
Broncos side of the ball.
I see the appeal with Sky Moore. I get it.
I don't start anybody this week. I just really am not confident in this Broncos offense to score.
The only one I'm
I just,
thinking about is Courtland Sutton.
I would start Russ in 2 QB leagues. He's been okay. He's been playing back end QB1 as far as where he's at currently through the season fantasy wise.
Mm-hmm.
So And Sutton maybe just because I feel like he's on the trade block, they might be force feeding him targets to get as much as they can for him.
It could be. It could be.
Bengals, 49ers.
This is a good one.
Yeah. Bengals need this.
They do.
49ers kind of need this too.
They've lost 2 straight.
Yeah, and they're kind of getting crept up on.
Both teams need this. This is a must win. I would almost say for both teams.
Yeah.
Bengals coming out of the bye need the game. 49ers losing 2 straight also need the game to stop skidding, right? Because if they lose this game, then a lot more questions are going to start creeping up. Like,
With Brock Purdy and concussion protocol, Debo out, CMC still playing through injury, like, and Cincinnati's playing better. This has, like, on paper, like, this is going to be a good game. This could be a game of the week, you know.
Mhm.
Great matchup. But for what we've been seeing, the trajectory of the two teams over, you know, the recent last 3 weeks or so, and the potential of Purdy not even playing, I wouldn't be surprised if Cincy dog walks them.
I wouldn't be either. My heart of hearts is telling me 28-17 49ers, though.
Mhm.
I'm going 31-27 Cincy. I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. They get it done. They pull it through.
I'm kind of
Cincy needs this game more than San Fran does. San Fran can lose this game and still make the playoffs, whereas if Cincy loses this game, with how deep
They might be out of the race.
Yeah, with how deep the AFC is right now, it hurts them a lot.
Like,
But
they're hanging on with the tip of their nails on the cliff.
Mhm. I think this is going to be like a 28-21 type game in favor of Cincy.
Any special starts this week? I mean, you know, obviously you got Jamar Chase. Obviously, you're probably flexing on wide receiver 2 Boyd. You might start mixing down to flex. Burrow, you're probably starting QB1.
Mhm.
Purdy, if he plays, you're starting QB1.
CMC.
McCaffrey, obviously RB1. Ayuk, you know, like Kittle. Yeah, you know, you have your obvious starts. Is there anybody that we're thinking may, you know,
with Debo
come around? And
with Debo out this week, Brandon Ayuk's probably going to be getting the QB1 treatment. I like in spot moments. Ronnie Bell has been pretty good.
One.
Yeah. Yeah. Ronnie Bell for the 49ers wide receiver out of Michigan's been, I think he's going to have a chance to have a decent week. I like him for a plug and play this week. If you need somebody off the waiver wire to cover a bye week, Ronnie Bell for the 49ers is my pick.
I like it.
Juan Jennings, you know, like
that's what chat said on Facebook. Juan Jennings.
Oh, yeah, Juan Jennings. You know that, like he could be solid. You know, yeah, Juan Jennings. You know, if Ayuk's down, might go ahead and reel in another 5 reception game. 50 yards, you know, that's 10 points. And if you throw a touchdown on that, all of a sudden now you have a 16-point wide receiver.
Right, exactly. That's all you can hope for.
Yeah, exactly. You know, that slides us down into the Bears-Chargers.
Bears-Chargers.
I'm excited about this one. This is my upset of the week. I'm going Bears, baby. Bears all the way. Chargers are going to blow it. They just play down to their opponents, and it's just going to spiral out of control. We discussed last night whether or not we think the Chargers are going to be able to reel it in, and I do not. And it's going to show this week. Like, they're putting the nail in the coffin. The lid's already closed, but they're nailing it shut this week against the Bears. And
yeah, 21-17. I'm feeling Bears, man.
Who from the
Bears? The Bears are feeling alive.
I have 30-28 in like a dramatic walk-off kickoff.
Who from the Chargers are you guys playing?
Herbert and
Eckler, obviously.
Keenan Allen. You gotta.
Palmer might be a flex-worthy player.
Bears defense has
maybe.
been playing really well now that they've got some games together and they're starting to figure each other out. Because, like, you got to think about it. Like, they had a lot of high-end players.
And since they got rid of Chase Claypool.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But this defense got a lot of high-end players in free agency added to the roster. But a lot of these players are new playing with each other. So they had It's like on paper they were really good, but they had to figure things out together throughout the early parts of the season. They're starting to gel. Like they have a top 8 defense on paper. So if they start playing anywhere near that overall, if Justin Fields and DJ Moore and the offense can keep it going a little bit, they can make a run at the playoffs for sure.
110%.
I like it.
All right.
Monday Night
So that leads
Football.
This
Raiders
Why don't you lead this off?
against the Lions.
this isn't even me being a homer. This is just the way this Lions team is built, the way they have Dan Campbell's back, the kind of guy Dan Campbell is, and the message he came out with after the Ravens game, saying this was on him. He just flat out did not have his boys ready to go for this game. The Raiders are about to catch an ass whooping that wasn't meant for them. That's what's about to happen this week. And
I don't know. I think the Raiders. I think this could be a competitive game.
I
don't think
I
so.
think the Raiders defense will keep it close for the first half, but the second half it's just gonna get blown open.
It's going to get out of control.
I see the Lions winning 35-20.
Ooh, see, I was going. So that's not like the ass whooping I thought you were going to go for. I was thinking like 34-35-20 type of thing. I think it's going to be like a 14-point win for the Lions.
I didn't think like 20 plus or anything, but like a sound victory.
I'm thinking like 28-10.
Okay. All right. So who from the Lions and the Raiders are you starting, Shane?
Raiders,
Both teams.
Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, because his touchdown proficiency has just been off the charts this season. I'm not starting Jacobs. For the Lions, I'm starting Goff. And I'm deciding, Jahmyr Gibbs is a lock. Laporta definitely is a go.
Mm-hmm.
He's been playing too well to not start him.
And Amon-Ra.
Reynolds is playing out of his mind, and Amon-Ra is obviously a lock.
Travis?
Any disagreements?
No, I mean, I would say you Goff, Amon-Ra, Laporta, 100% locks. The usage Gibbs got without Montgomery. If Montgomery's not playing, then Gibbs, you're firing him up.
Yep.
Yep.
100%.
Once Montgomery comes back, wait to see what kind of usage he'll be getting again. But on the other side, yeah, Adams. I do think you start Jacobs just because I think he's going to get a touchdown. He might not be overall efficient against this defense, but I think he'll get in the end zone this week. I don't mind your Jacoby Myers pick, but I'd stay away from it this week. But other than that,
I did like the
I'm
Jacoby
full
Myers
agreement.
pick, though.
Overall, he's been playing pretty well this year. I don't know. I don't trust the backup QBs that Vegas is.
Would you rather have Jacoby Myers or Juju Smith-Schuster?
Jacoby?
Jacoby, easy.
Jacoby.
Every day. Easy. Easy.
It's
pick.
crazy.
Well,
What
I was going to say the
did
Patriots
that.
didn't see that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Wild.
I'm not going to. I got nothing to say.
So Austin, you mentioned at the beginning of the cut, you wanted to go over top 3 buy low, sell high.
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah. Give me you guys this 3.
read your mind.
Give me guys this 3 buy low candidates and 3 buy high or sell high.
3 buy low. Right now, Tank Dell. He's been out with injury. He's looking good before he got hurt, and he hasn't exploded quite yet. He's had a couple good games, but I think he has coming back from injury. He opens up another dimension of that offense. The only thing that's missing is they need Dameon Pierce to get going. But Tank Dell has a good
What's
chance.
the asking price for Tank Dell, do you think?
I think you wouldn't have to pay more than a single second at most, depending on who the owner is at the moment.
And do you think he'd be worth that second round pick throughout the rest of the season?
Yes, I do.
I think so too. I think so too. That's why I wanted to ask
Mhm.
very explicitly why. because I think Tank Dell will end up being worth more like a first round pick by the end of the season, and you can
Mhm.
cash him out later.
You're gonna like my second buy low candidate right now.
Who?
Do you want me to do my
Najee.
first?
Najee's my second buy low candidate right now.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Najee.
I
Najee's been playing like ass, but he's gonna get better.
Steelers, like I said earlier, have been playing the last couple weeks on offense. It's not good yet, but you can see them starting to try to put it together.
It's crazy when Kenny Pickett's calling audibles and shit, and they start scoring now. It's almost like Mike Tomlin came out to him in the tunnel, and he's like, "Go ahead, call the game, kid." On the second half,
But
bro.
if they could
And
take like two more little
they came alive.
steps, and the whole offense starts clicking a little bit, even though Warren's been like the better fantasy asset thus far, like Najee will get his touches. I think he'll end up being a better running back the back half of the season. And
Yeah.
fantasy running back market this season has been crazy. So the values the value in tiers is ridiculous, the differential right now. So
I like it.
and my third buy low is another running back. It's also on Shane's roster, but Kareem Hunt. Just because even we just blew that open 20 minutes ago, but I think he's going to be at least flexible the rest of the season, even with Jerome Ford there. Jerome Ford's still going to be locked and loaded as an RB2 to flex play, but without Ford there, Kareem Hunt's going to get a lot of touches, and I still think he gets 15 touches a game with Ford back. So,
Me too.
do it.
Let me go ahead and hop in with my bias.
Okay,
I got Brian Robinson as my number one.
I like it.
I think he's only going to be going on an upward trajectory, and like the thing is, you can probably get him for a third or fourth round type trade. I think you could probably trade out Sky Moore or Kadarius Toney and get Brian Robinson. Like, those type of receivers that you might have taken him a little higher than you would have liked. At least you're nulling out the loss. And by the end of the season, I think that fourth round trade value is going to end up being around a second round trade value. So that's a huge jump in profit revenue. My second is going to be Gus Edwards. I think as the season goes on, he's going to have a similar trajectory as Najee Harris. He's going to continue to go ahead and get the rock, especially in worst case scenario if Lamar goes down, which we really hope that doesn't happen. But with the style of play that Lamar pursues, it is a concern that is consistently relevant. And my third buy high or buy low is going to be Russell Wilson. I think you can get Russell Wilson for a pretty cheap price, even though he's been performing pretty well fantasy wise. I'm not high on him this week, but based off his stats, 1,500 yards, I think 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. That's good fantasy start, especially, if you can get him for round 2 talent and you get a QB1 out of it. That's pretty solid.
Yeah.
What about you, Austin? Who are your 3 buy lows?
Buy low, I'm going Michael Mayer and Gardner Minshew as my first 2.
Yep.
Michael Mayer hasn't really done anything thus far. Like he's averaged like 13, 14 yards a game type of thing.
Who has him right now in fantasy?
I don't want to talk about that.
It's funny that I have all these guys on this buy low list, huh?
Because you stole him from me.
I didn't steal shit. That's why he's on my roster and not yours. You commish.
You stole him from me.
You the commish? Are you making rules now?
No, he's just the treasurer.
I'm not the commish, but I'm the treasurer. I control.
I know. I just want to make sure. Are you the commish? Are you making rules now? Commish?
I wish I could.
Yeah,
are you commish or commie?
It's Bruce Wayne.
Can't answer that question.
Classified.
But someone else I'd be like really interested in buying low is Amari DiMarcado from the Cardinals.
Oh yes, I like that too.
I would
for a reason in my taxi squad.
I would be very interested in him, and I like his future potential. Not necessarily the rest of the season.
James Conner being old.
Yeah, but I think you can get him for a very cheap price now, and that it'll pay dividends later on in the future, for sure.
Before we hop into the sell highs, I want one honorable mention, and that's Raheem Shaheed for the Saints.
Yeah.
I think you can get him super cheap, and I think he's going to start putting up like 12 points a week, especially with like Michael Thomas's decline, and Chris Olave might be facing a suspension realistically. You know, you pick him up now, like you're talking about a guy that might score you like 60 points over a 3-week period if things fall into place correctly.
I can see that.
Okay.
All right. So sell.
Travis, why don't you go ahead and lead us off with selling high?
Interesting enough, one of your buy lows is my number one sell high. And
Russell Wilson?
No, Gardner Minshew.
Oh, Austin's.
Yes.
Damn.
I think like we all have a similar opinion on Minshew, that he's a lot better than advertised, or the chance that he's been given as a pro, and he just proved it the last week. And I think he's gonna explode. Not necessarily be a top 10 QB or anything, but he's gonna be pretty good the rest of the season. And someone's gonna need a QB. It's a long season. Sell high, because if you have Gardner, you're either the AR-15 owner or somebody, or he's your QB3. So trade him to someone who's more QB desperate than you. Get a solid wide receiver or running back in return.
110%.
I like it.
My second sell high is, of course, another one of Shane's players, Adam Thielen.
That's my number one sell high.
Yeah. Do I think his current production at like being a top 5 wide receiver is sustainable throughout the entire season? No. Do I think do I think he'll maintain top 15 throughout the entire season? Most likely. But the production that he's giving right now, comparatively to what the owner paid most likely this season, is drastic difference. And like going into this season, like most people weren't even going to pay a third for Thielen.
And look at who held on to him.
And right,
you guys were trying to throw bullshit trades at me, trying to get him off me for a 3rd or 4th round pick. And I said, go fuck yourself. He's a number 1 overall receiver. And he's got Bryce Young passing him the ball. Bryce Young ain't going to be shit. But you know what's going to happen? Adam Thielen's going to take care of business because he's got them soft, smooth, easy to catch hands. And we see it time and time again. Everybody always surprised that Adam Thielen always be a top 10 receiver in fantasy. It's Larry Fitzgerald syndrome part 2. Why are we surprised?
I would say right now you can, like, if you to the right team in Dynasty, if you go to a contender that has had some injury trouble and could use a solid weekly play, you could probably get a first for Thielen right now, even considering his age. So, Shane, if I was you, I'd be pursuing that. But my last sell high right now is just simply, like, I do think this guy has what it takes to be a top 10 RB the rest of the season, but I don't think he's going to get the sheer amount of touches that he's been getting since he got back from suspension, and that's Mr. Alvin Kamara. He's been playing out of his mind since he got back, and not necessarily, like, I mean, he's been playing good, but as far as efficiency, he hasn't necessarily been playing at an elite level, but his touches have been ridiculous, the amount of touches he's getting. If he's going to be getting 13 plus targets a game while getting 15 plus rush attempts a game, like, just if you're a contender, you're holding on. But if you're a roster that's more suited to go in the rebuild and you have Kamara, I'd be trying to get 2 first. You might be able to, the way Kamara's been playing.
Yeah.
And I think you call me crazy. I think you could get 3.
An injury-riddled team that really feels like they need a running back, there's probably someone out there that would, but
maybe
that might be a stretch.
I think the scenario would be, a guy that's looking to get a chip, and he had Nick Chubb, and he just needs that other running back to really end.
If the rest of his team is like old in a dynasty, then
okay, check it. Think about. I'm going to name some running backs. I'm going to name some running backs that are taken in the first round consistently in every draft. Josh Jacobs. Najee Harris was up there. Bijan Robinson. Jonathan Taylor. At this point, Nick Chubb. I just named 5 running backs that are taken in the first or second round that he'll outperform.
Yeah. I mean,
And he has outperformed. So that's the thing is like, especially if you're on a chip run and your team's winning a lot, but you're like kind of cutting it close with your running back situation because you had Josh Jacobs or you have Bijan, who Bijan has been having like boom games, but he has no touchdowns on the ground yet. So like, we're not getting the efficiency we want from him yet. And like, with that being said, like I could see a team that has a good quarterback, that has a good wide receiver core, that needs that running back to trade 3 first rounds. I could see it.
See, I could see where you're going with that. I just don't know if I personally, even as well, if he's doing, wouldn't pay 3 first rounds, but I'd consider 2 if I really needed it the way he's been playing.
I'd go
But-
about 2. That's probably about the highest
I think
I'd
2.
go.
I think 2 is realistic. I would say 3 is high.
I
said
have
3 is
one
the ceiling.
I have one honorable mention, and that is Jahmyr Gibbs, just because like the hype was unreal for him coming into the season, and then the amount of work he got up until Montgomery got hurt had people, the Gibbs owners, pissed off. But Montgomery's out; he's going to be out for a couple weeks. Gibbs shined, was like the lone shiny spot of the Lions week against the Ravens. Some of that, like the people that were like really fiending over Gibbs and had all the hype, like they might be like, finally, like everyone's got that guy in the league who is super high on Gibbs. Now is your chance to resell him before Montgomery comes back.
Yeah. I was kind of leaning the same way. Like Gibbs, Kamara, and Hunt were all on my list for sell highs. Personally.
So mine is Thielen, Jalen Hurts, and Josh Jacobs. So the reason I'm selling Jalen Hurts right now is the turnovers, and his name is worth so much right now.
Yeah.
He's getting the Nike treatment. His name's worth so much right now. You can get 2 first rounds for Jalen Hurts, even though he's playing at like a second round trade equal value currently. Like when you can do that, you do it. Like we're 6 weeks into the season, 7 weeks for some teams. 7 weeks already established going into week 8. You look at Jalen Hurts' numbers and you're like, this isn't my elite QB1 I was expecting. But other people view him like that, and you can get that value from him. He's going to probably end up turning his season around at some point, but do you want to be the one that has to be sitting there and waiting by his side the whole time? No, you want to be a hoe, and you're going to get it figured out. You ain't gonna stick by him. You're gonna sell him. Josh Jacobs, as the season goes on, he's gonna be more efficient. Josh Jacobs might not be the sell right now, but in the next couple of weeks, especially if he blows up, it'd be worth selling him. Right now, you're kind of at this weird point where he's either at his high point, he's either going to come here, or he's going to go down here in the upcoming weeks. So you got to make that decision now.
I like it. I don't hate it. I like it.
All right. So, with that being said, any last remarks for this episode? Do we want to run over some things chat said?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So, Twitch chat. They're talking about Patriots taking over the Dolphins. He sees an upset coming up.
I love that.
Cardinals wide receiver 1 would be a good start. Dobbs has faced the Ravens several times.
Yeah.
So that's something
the
that
Steelers, and the Browns.
yeah. Cardinals might win that game being serious. And if the Lions can't run the ball, the Raiders will win.
Ooh.
Hot take.
With that being said, Facebook chat, they're talking about Gibbs being a top 10 running back this week. Jawan Jennings in deeper leagues as a dart throw. Yeah. Any other comments you guys liked from our chats? What's YouTube looking like?
I don't know.
Nothing that Facebook and Twitch hasn't already said.
Awesome.
Well, thank you guys for joining in for another episode of Back to Back. We love it. Let us know how you think about us streaming to 3 platforms now. Don't forget our trunk or treat is this weekend at the 28th, this Saturday, 2
Don't
to
do it,
5
Shane.
p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh no.
Don't Shane.
Give a sh-
Shane, I swear to Shane, you mother. All right, Travis, continue with the sendo. We're gonna ignore Shane.
Yeah, but we have our business page out now on Facebook. If you haven't followed already, please go ahead and give that a follow. We have our website and merch coming soon. Big plans coming up with our work with Deepwater Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling and grappling in Hastings, Michigan. We have a lot of stuff coming with that. He just left himself.
He said, "No, I'm done." Wild. I think he DC'd. I don't think he did that on purpose.
I know.
Oh no, that's not good.
I don't have control to stop it either.
Well, did he just PM you?
No.
Well, finish out the closeout, I guess.
All right, and well, that's it.
Yeah.
Have a good night. Oh, there he's back.
And-
Holy shit.
Oh, he's back.
Okay,
oh
I'm
my
back.
gosh. What the fuck happened, Austin?
I don't know. My my shit just froze.
I just stand in the doorway and it breaks your computer? What the fuck?
Yeah, I told you not to.
I have this much power?
I told you not to.
This is wild. I'm gonna do it again.
Oh God.
All right, you can end it now. We out.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.